Hey guys, this is Kai from Lucas Land & Royals. Hope you're doing well, and this is part 2 of the koi pond build. If you haven't seen part 1, I'll leave a link to that video. In part 1, we dug a hole, we built the walls of the pond and dropped in the underlayment and the liner. This video picks up from there. Keep in mind, laying in the liner should be one of the last steps, but because I built this pond during peak COVID period, I couldn't find the lumber needed, so I had to put in the liner and fill the pond prematurely because I didn't want the dirt to cave in. Throughout this video, you'll see that I had to constantly move the liner and underlayment out of the way. It was a bit of a hassle, and I did that by dropping in the liner over a temporary 2x3 piece of lumber. So with that out of the way, let's continue this video by beefing up the walls of the pond. Those are some heavy duty screws, and I made sure that they're long enough to lock all 4 layers of the walls together, strengthen those walls, especially at the corners. I do want to mention you will need a power source. Though it's not part of this pond build, it is needed to run the filtration. I updated an existing receptacle, which is a GFCI, and then ran wires off of that. The wires were laid before pouring the concrete of this slab, and then I installed receptacles once the concrete was cured. There's one dedicated receptacle for this pond, and I added one more for general use because there was never one on this side of the yard, so this was the time to do it. Next, I'll show you how I cut and staple the underlayment. Be careful when you cut those, as you don't want to cut them too short. It's better to leave them a little bit long and then trim the excess when they've been stapled into place. Now the underlayment and the liner are installed, for the most part. I purposely left one short side loose because that's where the bulkheads should go. If you saw part 1 of this koi pond build, you know I wanted to install bulkheads to prevent the pond from overflowing during heavy rainfalls. So now I'll show you how I finished installing them. Right now, those bulkheads are just there. The pipes are not glued, and I'll figure out what I want to do, where I want to run the water off to later. But now I'll show you how I added an 8-inch trim around the pond to hide that liner. It also serves as a seating area to enjoy the pond and the koi. I want the corners of the trimming to be mitered. That just means 2 pieces of lumber that are cut 45 degrees and joined together. But that's a weak joint. So what I ended up doing is making a half lap joint that still appears to be a miter joint. I want to show you how I did that. The ends of those 10-foot boards are done, and now I want to show you how to make the ends of those 6-foot long boards. The advantage of a half lap joint over a plain miter joint is the additional surface area for gluing and screwing. Let's continue with making the half lap joint for the short boards. After all the trim pieces were cut and corners prepared, I was able to install them. By the way, there was a lot of chiseling work to get those corners as perfect as possible. I'm sure there are better ways to do that, but I wanted to pull it off without a lot of heavy machinery or nifty tools. I figure a saw, a mallet, and a chisel are regularly available, affordable, and easy to learn, so that's the way I went about it. The next clip is about installing the trim around the pond. The boards are held in place with just glue and screws. That about completes the DIY koi pond. Here's what it looks like as it stands today. In summary, it holds just over 1,000 gallons of water and measures 10 feet long by 6 feet wide, and the deepest point is just around 4 feet. I'm not a koi collector, so this didn't need to be a huge pond for me, but you can make it bigger or smaller according to your requirements. I simply wanted a small pond to enjoy the koi and the sound of running water. The look of the pond ties into the rest of my yard, but you can always paint, stain, or tile your pond to your liking. I feel this video wouldn't be complete if I didn't tell you about the filtration. Truth is, there's so many filter options out there that I can't possibly cover them all in one video, but I'll show you my setup. There is a 2,700 gallon per hour pump at the bottom that pushes the water through a hose and splits into a UV sterilizer and a Owazi gravity filter. Both of those return the water back into the pond, though the Owazi gravity filter feeds a drop off while the UV sends water directly into the pond. I also added a temporary net to keep the predators out, and it's supported by a center brace made out of PVC and a few pieces of scrap 2x4 lumber, and they're all just held together with screws. Hope this DIY provides you with some inspiration and confidence for you to tackle your own DIY koi pond. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. If you're new to this channel and you want to be informed of future uploads, make sure you're subscribed and hit that notification bell. As always, thanks for watching, please share, and I'll see you guys next time.